Well, good evening, barflies and lounge lizards, and welcome to the Wacky World Lounge. And this episode is brought to you in part by Them's Fighting Words, the soupiest martial arts channel on YouTube. If you enjoy the content tonight, head on over and check out Them's Fighting Words, because it's basically the exact same stuff, but way better. And this episode is about my top martial arts films. I almost called it top kung fu films, but being the nerd that I am, one of the films on here isn't traditionally a kung fu film. So I couldn't do it. It just bothered me too much. But that being said, this I think has a bunch of stuff that, though it's just my personal favorites, and they are all martial arts films, there's some real genre defying stuff on here. And I think there's a little something for everybody. Even if you're not necessarily into martial arts, I think you may find something on this list that you will dig. So stick around, take a listen, take a load off. And there will be some name butchering on here, I guarantee it. And number 5 on the list, and I assure you, I did not plan this way, 5 Deadly Venoms from 1978 by Shaw Studios, directed by Chang Che. Remember that name. Also known as the 5 Venoms, it starred the Venom Mob, which was kind of a supergroup, the best of the best that Shaw Studios had to offer. They did numerous films together, and they were the main fight choreographers for said films. My personal favorite was Lo Mang, but they were all really awesome. But 5 Deadly Venoms tells the story of 5 elite martial artists, all in masks, each with their own distinct kind of animal creature style. Their centipede, their snake, their scorpion, lizard, and toad. And each one of them has kind of a fighting style that kind of reflects said creature. And basically their dying master sends his newest pupil, who's trained a little bit in each of the styles, not everything, just kind of a sampler of the different Venom styles, to go check up on these guys to make sure they're not up to any funny business. And that's the strength of the film, because as much as this is a martial arts film, it's also a mystery, because the identities of the 5 Venoms are unknown, even to the master. He trained them in their mask, full anonymity. Only 2 of them knew each other. And so basically the plot of it is the new student trying to discover who is who in the 5 Deadly Venoms, who he can trust to team up with to take out the bad ones. And this is a fantastic movie. And I'm the type with my martial arts, I still like a heavy plot with just bursts of action throughout. And that's exactly how this one is. I initially heard about this one as a young child, maybe 8, 9 years old. A friend had seen it, but he didn't know the name. But he just told me about this martial arts film that had these 5 warriors, each with an animal type code name. And I was just so intrigued by it through my entire life. And it kind of became one of those holy grail lost movies that I just had to see one day. And then probably about 5 years ago, because it was on El Rey Network, I finally caught it and I was like, wait a second, this is it. And wow, it was absolutely worth the wait. Now, a little piece of trivia about this one is most of the Venom Mob were childhood friends, and they all attended the Peking Opera School. And anyone that's even slightly familiar with Hong Kong cinema knows the Holy Trinity, the Holy Trio of Jackie Chan, Yin Biao, and Sammo Hung. It's where they went. So that tells you that Peking Opera School, even though there were several branches, it was just churning out the world's greatest martial artist. And because of it, we have one of the world's greatest martial arts films, 5 Deadly Venoms. And number 4 on the list is Last Hurrah for Chivalry from 1979, directed by John Woo and released by Golden Harvest. You're going to notice a theme in this list very soon. But Last Hurrah for Chivalry tells the story of 2 hired killers in ancient China who, played by Damien Lau. See, the mispronunciations are starting already, and that's one I know how to pronounce. So imagine when especially this next guy, Wei Pai. So the 2 hired killers, Damien Lau and Wei Pai, decide to help out a local merchant who wants revenge on a kung fu master, as they so often do. That's just a dime a dozen. You know, those local merchants, they don't like their kung fu masters. But that's really all I can say about this film, because it is slam full of plot twists. Not necessarily a mystery like Five Deadly Venoms was, but the plot twists and turns, lots of intrigue, extremely well acted. So if you like that sort of thing, I think you will really dig this one. Interestingly, I had always avoided John Woo films. I just am not into the gun food kind of stuff. I don't really like the guns in my martial arts. I mean, small doses, but just the overall, as you know what John Woo's most famous for. But I caught this one late night TV back in the 90s, not knowing it was a John Woo film, and it absolutely just blew me away. And then there's Damien Lau, who's one of my favorite Hong Kong performers to begin with. He is an absolute chameleon, because his roles are so vastly different. In this movie, he plays kind of the lovable scoundrel, and as you know, I always like the lovable scoundrel. Very different role type than I was used to seeing him before, which maybe I'll talk about another role he did maybe a little later, maybe not, but most definitely am. And a little piece of trivia about this one, apparently this film was a tribute to John Woo's mentor, and who was John Woo's mentor? Chang Che. Remember, like a long time ago, 2 or 3 minutes when I said remember that name, Chang Che? That's why. That's just some good YouTubing right there. And number 3 on the list is City Hunter from 1993, released by Golden Harvest and starring Jackie Chan. And this is a comedy martial arts film based on a manga of the same name. And it's basically Jackie Chan on a cruise ship that some terrorists are trying to take over. Fantastic. Hands down, my favorite Jackie Chan movie by a big margin. And it's just really funny. This movie, I would almost consider it more a comedy than I would a martial arts film. So if you just want a good, funny movie that maybe has a little action, that's this one right there. And it has a fantastically phenomenal cast, including Richard Norton, one of my favorite and Australian martial artists, Gary Daniels, who most of you probably just know Gary Daniels from the Fist of the North Star live action film, but he was one that really seemed like he was going to be a big deal. Like at the time, I really thought he would be the next Van Damme or whatnot. Don't know why that never really happened, but he was really talented. And then, most importantly, more important than any of those people, Qingmi Yao, my absolute favorite Hong Kong actress, whose name I have no idea how to actually pronounce, and she is great in the movie. And let's jump back to Gary Daniels for a second. I've seen some fine Speedo acting in my day, but there's a performance in this one, a Gary Daniels Speedo performance, which is Oscar worthy. If you like good Speedo action in a movie, Jennifer told you, this has got a scene for you. And if you aren't sold by now, there's a Street Fighter 2 parody where you get to see Jackie dressed up as Chun-Li. Now, if you aren't sold by now, you are on the wrong channel, sir. The wrong channel. Now, a piece of trivia about this one, in the Street Fighter 2 parody scene, E Honda is actually listed as E Hyundai. This was because Jackie had a contract with the Mitsubishi car company, and meaning that Honda was the name of a rival car company, didn't want it in there. That's dedication right there. That is dedication. And on that, we should take some kind of break.
It's awesome action. Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu. A video game that'll blow you away. Fight your way through 5 fantastic levels, using killer flips and kick spins. The action's so hot, it'll make your fingers burn. Look for it today, Jackie Chan's Action Kung Fu by Hudson Soft.
And we're back. And we're back with number 2 on the list, and that is Millionaires Express, aka Shanghai Express, aka The Millionaires Express, from 1986, directed by Sammo Hung and released by Golden Harvest once again. And this one is a comedy western with martial arts, and it is absolutely one of my favorite movies of all time, one of my favorite westerns too. I've already even covered it on channel. One of my first videos was a review of this one, but I'm going to talk about it again because it's my channel and I'm redundant. But it stars, Millionaires Express stars Sammo Hung and Yun Biao, 2 of the Holy Trinity. And as I mentioned earlier, you have your Holy Trinity of Hong Kong martial arts actors. Your Jackie Chan, Yuen Biao, and Sammo Hung. And they went to school together, and they often did films together. And this one had 2 of the 3. And honestly, of the 3, it kind of goes back and forth for me, which is my favorite between Sammo and Yuen. But having Yuen and Sammo in the same movie, excellent. But Millionaires Express tells a story of a small western town, in China, of course, that is not doing so well. So Sammo, who's kind of the lovable scoundrel of the movie, he strands a train there and hijinks ensue. But then there's like this invasion of these weird bandits, these weird random Civil War looking bandits featuring Richard Norton, once again, and Cynthia Rothrock. And it's really interesting seeing Cynthia Rothrock play a villain in something. And she has a fight scene with Sammo, which is absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite fight scenes in a movie. Really top-notch stuff. This one is, I would say, it's even funnier than City Hunter. And this is my highest recommendation on this list to non-martial arts fans. If you just like good comedy and you like westerns, check this one out if you can still find it. Fantastic. And a little piece of trivia about this one. Speaking of Cynthia Rothrock, both her and Richard Norton were suffering from leg injuries at the time of filming this movie. So both can be seen performing all their kicks with just a single leg. Wonder how they choose whose leg. It's good YouTubing right there. And number 1 on the list, and that is Duel to the Death from 1983, released by Golden Harvest. Starring Norman Chu and Damien Lau, Duel to the Death tells the story of a contest that takes place every 10 years between the best swordsman in Japan and the best swordsman in China. And along the way, the two kind of uncover a secret plot to rig the fight. Now, I know that doesn't sound like much, but this movie is excellent. Everything on this list is excellent, but this is excellentier than even the excellent others. It's deep, dramatic, it's got ninjas, it's got superhuman acts of skill, and you really start rooting for both the fighter, both the warriors, both swordsmen, that's the word I'm looking for. You really find yourself rooting for both. So it's kind of hard to root for someone, especially in the big dramatic duel. Now, as I mentioned Damien Lau earlier being such a chameleon, whereas in Last Hurrah, he's kind of the lovable scoundrel. In this one, he is the straight up heroic, kind of very noble, very pure kind of guy that doesn't necessarily want to have this duel to the death. Very different character, but very cool. This is another one I caught on late night TV, and it absolutely changed the way I viewed martial arts films from then on out. And I remember the last scene, it's not a cliffhanger by any means, but it just kind of stops. It just kind of freezes. And I remember just sitting there glued to the TV, watching the full credits, hoping something else was going to happen. Hoping there would be some... I don't want to spoil it, but yeah, this is a great movie. And a little piece of trivia about it. Apparently there were 2 very different dubs of this film released in the West, which kind of supposedly vastly changed some of the character motivations. Can't speak for that because I've only seen the 1 dub, but yeah, find this movie if you still can. And that's my list. That is my top 5 martial arts films of all time. So please like, comment, subscribe, and keep it wacky.
Wow.